Okay, good afternoon. Monday, May 17th, 2021. Back at the pond here. It's kind of unusual. Okay, I do see one of the cygnets. I do see two of the cygnets. At first I did not see the cygnets. I just saw the mom sitting on the nest there. But the dad is straight out there, and the two trumpeters are also out there feeding. Does not look like the female is nesting. It's not a good sign if she's out there. I thought she'd be nesting on the 15th of May. They have a pothole washing off. County crew filling in the potholes. Our governor fixing the damn roads. But yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're going to have to check the time-lapse camera later on, see what it captured. Not sure why I guess you know, it's been like 8 days since they hatched. I don't think the eggs are really left in the nest. I'm not sure about that. But going to do some exercise, see what's going to go on. But I am a little sad. There is somebody threw bread in the water, and it's just not good to feed the cygnets any type of bread. It's not good for their health at this age especially. But I hope you enjoyed the video today. Thank you for watching. So we have the male mute swan straight ahead. We have some Canadian geese and ducks around the island. We have the two trumpeters way out there by the senior community doing some feeding. And we have the mom still sitting on the nest. I've been here for about 45 minutes or so. I am a little disappointed that the female trumpeter is not closer to her nest. Being May 17th, on the 14th and the 15th, I thought she was nesting, like almost attempting to nest. I thought there might have been like a egg or two on the inside the nest. But I guess I was wrong, because like you would think that they would be closer to the nest if there were eggs in that nest. It's interesting behavior. Mute Swan right now is giving them like a lot of distance. Alrighty, the trumpeters swam towards the wooded area of the pond. Mute Swan arched his wings, went out there, nothing happening. But do believe the female is still around the nest area in the reeds here. There's nothing on top of the nest right now, but I think she's down there somewhere. Mute Swan still has his wings. Trumpeter going after him. Trumpeter's got the back of him. That's the area a couple days ago, as I was explaining. Something happened over here where the Mute Swan, he flew from that area all the way over here. So now the Mute Swan is the one being chased by one of the trumpeters. Trumpeter picked up his legs a little bit there. Yeah, he's the one he's the chaser right now. Yeah, the trumpeter is chasing the mute swan. Mute swan's got his wings a little bit arched, not fully arched. They're going through the woods in the pond there. Mute swan comes out first. That trumpeter is still after him. Mute swan turns around a little bit, and the chase has stopped. Now the mute swan is coming in an angry mode at the other trumpeter, but backs away. I don't have sights on the mother swan with the 2 cygnet right now. Probably in the reeds here somewhere. Mute swan in the middle, 2 trumpeters. They're about like 12, 14 feet apart from each other. Basically the mute swan, well, he's turning around now a little bit. One trumpeter is going towards the island. The other one is probably the male, still eating out there. He turns around and the mute swan backs off. Been here for a little over an hour, and the female mute swan has just basically stayed at the nest area in the reeds here. Makes me wonder if they were like attacked a little bit more. And there goes the trumpeter a little bit. Mute swan get a little bit close. Like I said, that video the other day when that mute swan flew away, he was escaping. I didn't see it with my eyes, I just saw the time lapse of him flying over by this tree over here, this dead tree. The mute swan is going back to his location at the tip of the island. I'm not sure if the trumpeters are going to go up yet or not. I still don't know where the mama swan is with the 2 cygnets. And here comes the trumpeters. Maybe that mama swan is hiding. Uh-oh. So you look at the mute swan, he does not lunge, he'll get close. wonder what they're communicating. Oh wow, the Mute Swan finally lunged. He's looking for a fight. That's the first time I've seen the Mute Swan go at a trumpeter. There's the Mute Swan trying to look big and tough. There's the mama Mute Swan is finally out with the cygnets. There's the two cygnets. There's a swallow. 3 swallows. We have some turkey vultures, 2 of them flying above. Red-winged blackbirds. Mute Swan nudging a little more close to the trumpeter. I think he wants to fight actually a little bit. That was the first time I saw the Mute Swan like lunge at a trumpeter here. Mama protecting the 2 cygnets. But she's staying close to those reeds. I wonder if they had like a larger family, if they had like 5 cygnets, if the trumpeters would have gone after them quicker. There's the muskrat. Mute Swan sees danger. Yeah, the muskrat, little danger there. trumpeters and the mute swan are just preening themselves. It was barely a lunge by the mute swan, but I'll give him that. I'll call it a lunge. He didn't bite like the trumpeter bites. Got some mallard ducks on top of the island there. Mama mute swan is going back into the reeds. Looks like a turkey vulture just flying over the island. That's where the mute swan likes to hang out, right at the tip of the island there. I'm not sure if the swan in the back is... He could be sleeping right now. One leg. Or he might be cleaning a feather on the left side. Some feathers. Swan to the right, the trumpeter to the right is stretching out his right leg. Somebody, like I said, threw bread and waffles into the water. Not a good combination for cygnets. Well, I know of only 2 other occasions where basically dead mute swans have appeared. One was in Superior Township, Washtenaw County, early April, a number of years ago, 2 mute swans were in the pond. It was like late March, early April. Then one day I came back to the pond. 2 mute swans were there, but they were dead in the water. 2 trumpeter swans were there. The trumpeters ended up nesting the following year. They spent the summer in that pond, but they didn't nest. Then another occasion in Salem Township, Washtenaw County, this one pond is always mute swans nest in this pond. But one year I came to the pond in the spring and there was a dead mute swan in the pond, 1 more mute swan and 2 trumpeters. The trumpeters ended up nesting in that pond that year. Then like last year, I want to say it's northern Washtenaw County. It could be southern Livingston County. But the pond, trumpeters have nested at this pond before. Mute swans have nested at this pond before. And last year, there was trumpeters and mute swans were there, but I can't recall, like, if I know trumpeters did not nest there last year. Just from eBird, nobody reported that. But I was there today, earlier in the day, and there's 2 trumpeters nesting there. I was there a few weeks ago and there was trumpeters, no mute swans, and today trumpeters were on a nest. So that's pretty cool. So let's think right here how many nesting sites I know of. I know of 6 trumpeter swan nesting sites. I'm not including this site right now because right now today, May 17th, I don't think they're nesting. She's not on the nest. She would probably be preening herself on the nest if there were eggs on the nest. So like, you know, like on the 14th and the 15th and even yesterday, it looked like she was sitting on the nest on the 16th. But today, she's at the tip of this island, top of the island there. And looks like both of them are sleeping. The one on the right is definitely sleeping. The one on the left was, oh, maybe they're still cleaning. Yeah, they're still cleaning each other. Preening, but I'm not considering, like, I was hoping to consider this a nesting site for trumpeters, but I cannot count that right now. Maybe I will see with the time-lapse video if there was any action yesterday, late afternoon, early evening, and this morning and early afternoon, because it does not look like the trumpeters are going to be nesting here. I say the chances are low. On the 14th and the 15th, I put those chances above 50%. Put them about 65–70%. That, I mean, just the behavior of the female trumpeter looked like she was going to nest. Yesterday even I thought maybe she was going to nest. But those chances, like being here today on the 17th, I give it about 25% right now. And the mute swan with the cygnets, the mama swan with the cygnets, they've been hiding over here in the reeds for the most part. So maybe there was some type of confrontation earlier today, in the past 24 hours. Have to check the tape. It looks like the trumpeters are going to head back to their island location here. One would think if they had eggs on that nest that they would just scare off this mute swan. Good to see her go up on the island. Looks like she's getting on the nest where she's in the right area where I think the nest is. So there could be eggs in that nest. I'm hopeful. But boy, I've been here for over an hour and a half. And she was far away feeding and stuff like that. A lot of drama at this pond. The Trumpeter Swan and Mute Swan drama of 2021. Mute Swan's got his wings arched up. They're about 8 feet away, 9 feet away. See, also the Mute Swan, he's doing some feeding. I think we're supposed to get some rain like into tomorrow overnight. This Trumpeter Swan, this male just eats. I actually think it's the female trumpeter that fights more with the male Mute Swan than the male trumpeter. Sometimes it's difficult to tell them apart. So I apologize for that. Okay, the male trumpeter just got back up on the island. Female, like, she's been messing around with the nest over there. Maybe she's got eggs there. So my confidence level from 25%, maybe 50-50 right now. I still like to see her on that nest longer. The female Mute Swan came out momentarily but went back into the reeds with the cygnets. And the Mute Swan is just doing some feeding, the male. Yeah, both of the trumpeters, the mom is towards the left and the dad is towards the right. They're both pulling and tugging like different types of vines and twigs and branches. So they're trying to build a nest. It's just a matter if there's any eggs in the nest already. Good news is my time lapse worked, so I have 26 hours of time lapse coverage to film, to view. See what happened, if there's anything interesting on the time lapse. And I used a slower time lapse version this time setting, and I also used my GoPro 8 instead of the GoPro 7. Alrighty, just some final observations for May 17th, the time I was here. I'll have to look at the time lapse, see what happened earlier today and yesterday late afternoon. But the Mute Swan, the mama Mute Swan, just basically stayed here. I've been here for about 2 hours, and the mama Mute Swan just stayed basically right near her nest in these reeds. The dad Mute Swan is feeding out there right now. The two trumpeters are on the island still trying to build a nest. It's a good sign, but earlier I was a little disappointed that the trumpeters were so far out from the island feeding for a good hour or so. Then it was interesting to see the trumpeters chase the Mute Swan a little bit. Then at the top of the island there, you had the trumpeter go after the Mute Swan. Then the Mute Swan turned around a little bit later, and I call it a lunge. I'll have to see how well it turns out on the video. But he didn't lunge with like his mouth open. He didn't bite or anything like that. It was more like he hit him with his shoulder. It was kind of funny. But hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Okay, good afternoon. May 18th, 2021. Back at the Trumpeter Mute Swan drama situation. But it's beautiful weather today. It's about 78 degrees, a little windy, but I just arrived, and when I was driving by, the mama swan was right up close to the island there with the two cygnets, but the trumpeters are just resting. Looks like they were preening themselves. The Mute Swan is also resting. But boy, and yesterday was an interesting day. I was wondering why the Mute Swan, the mama Mute Swan, why she kept like so close to the nest and so close to the reeds. Well, I had my time-lapse camera that was set up and it caught the action from the afternoon and evening before, and also the morning and early afternoon. And I'll tell you what, I know the reason why she was like kind of scared. There was two other trumpeters that showed up yesterday. They showed up probably like late in the morning, and it was unbelievable, and I will explain that shortly. That's the male trumpeter swan right there. the female is on the island. Now, I was reading up about nesting. It can take like 10 or 15 days total for them to lay their eggs. So maybe she has already laid some eggs and she still has a ways to go before she starts to incubate. Because once she's done laying eggs, she'll start the incubation, and that's usually about 33 days, 34 days. So still hoping that she's able to have a successful nest. But just try to explain some of the time-lapse video that I saw yesterday was pretty amazing. A couple observations from that. I want to say it's the female trumpeter that's doing more of the attacking on the male mute swan than the male trumpeter. Some of the things I caught in the time lapse, I saw the female going after the male mute swan a little bit more. But what happened yesterday was interesting. It probably happened right around 12 o'clock. But right over there, the female was on the island like she's on right now, and the male was just right off the island in the water. Then all of a sudden you see the male head like pops up and his wings start to come out a little bit and he's honking. Well, what happened was two other trumpeters came flying. I believe they came flying from the west and landed in the pond. Right when they landed in the pond, the mute swan was with its family over there, and the male mute swan took off after one of the trumpeters, and they flew all the way over to like the other side by the senior home. Then the other trumpeter that just flew in, he was just, you know, just in the pond, and the male trumpeter got back up on the island, and him and his partner were like putting their wings to the side, honking at each other. Then all of a sudden the male mute swan chased the trumpeter back here. Then he went after the other trumpeter. Then the two trumpeters got back into the water. Then the male mute swan was over here and they were off camera. But all of a sudden you see the two trumpeters book right after the other two trumpeters. Then the male mute swan, he came and he landed on the other side of the island. I saw that. Then the two trumpeters ended up chasing the two intruders away. Then probably like a few minutes later, you see one of the trumpeters land over by the mute swan. Then just a second later, you see another trumpeter, and he circles like 3 times. And on the 3rd time, I can see the male mute swan. He just lands right on top of the male mute swan. And like, I couldn't see the fight because the island was like in the way and everything. But it was either the male trumpeter that did that or the female trumpeter. I think it was probably the male trumpeter, but I'm not sure about that. But I can understand when I was here yesterday why the mute swan, the female mute swan, kept so close to the reeds in her nest and was hiding, is because like when those two trumpeters showed up, it looked like mayhem. Like crazy mayhem for like about 10 minutes in the pond, 10 or 15 minutes. And so that was interesting, very interesting. But now the mute swans, the family is back out. They're on the other side of the island and they're feeding over on the other side of the island. I set up another time-lapse camera. The time-lapse I did yesterday, it was a good shot, but didn't get so much of the action. And because I think more of the action, unfortunately, a lot of the action is on the other side of the island. I would think it would be on this side of the island where the trumpeters get up all the time to go to their nest. Then the mute swan's nest is over there. So it's just interesting. But I have a lot of video to review. So hopefully these videos are also interesting for you. But I'm gonna get my exercise right now, do my walking. I do have a time lapse set up for overnight. It's supposed to rain tonight, possibility of rain going into tomorrow morning. But I think my camera should be okay. I'm just worried a little bit about the battery pack that I use, but I try to seal it up as best as I can with plastic, so it should be fine and everything. But I'm gonna walk around for a little bit and see if I can see some of the neighbors at the senior community. Maybe one of them yesterday might have seen the fight, because that would have been something to see the fight live. I mean, the time lapse, unfortunately, I'm trying to figure out how I can edit and slow it down. And one thing with these time-lapse videos and also the GoPro video, I do apologize, I don't have a powerful zoom to get close shots, but I wish I had a professional camera like the ones they use on National Geographic, but maybe that's down the road. But thanks for watching. I see 16 Canadian geese, some mallard ducks, red-winged blackbirds. I saw a couple swallows. The trumpeter is right over there, the male trumpeter. The Mute Swan family is over there. They're in the basically the northeast part of the pond. It looks like there is a Canadian goose sitting on a nest, perhaps. The goslings are getting really big, so it makes it 21 Canadian geese total. So there's the Mute Swan family doing their feeding still. The female trumpeter came off the island and has joined her mate across the pond. You can see the swallow. Yep, there goes the swallow. They love to nest like up in these rafters, these beams. So no wonder at different times there's a lot of swallows at the pond. So the trumpeters are still hanging out, feeding. Mute swans on the opposite side of the pond. A lot of Canadian geese down at that end. I thought I saw one was nesting, but maybe I was incorrect. All the blackbirds chasing the hawk. The hawk maybe has like a little baby, perhaps. Wow. Yeah, the hawk's got maybe not. There's 6 blackbirds chasing the hawk. Looks like a red-tailed hawk. I think he's carrying like a little chick, maybe. It was funny, the male Mute Swan he was swimming down here and he was just checking out, like looking a little bit of where the trumpeters were. Then he ended up flying all the way back there because his partner is more towards the left in the reeds. They're probably sleeping. And this trumpeter just came over to check it out, see what's going on. He heard the Mute Swan take off and fly. So he just came over to see what was going on. And the Mute Swan wasn't, there's a Canadian goose out there, but the Mute Swan wasn't flying. He was just checking in on the trumpeters, saw everything was fine and flew back there. Well, I'm going to call it a day. I do have the time lapse set up, so I'll be able to catch the action, see what goes on, if anything. Looks like the female is coming out of the reeds over there with the two cygnets. But thank you for watching the video today. Hope you have a great day. Okay, good afternoon. It's May 19th, 2021. I'm at the Trumpeter Mute Swan Drama Pond. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon, 86 degrees, nice and warm, a little windy. Supposed to get some thunderstorms perhaps later this afternoon into the evening. It didn't rain yet. I don't think it rained, and my time-lapse camera is still here, so that's pretty cool. I get to check out the 24-hour coverage from yesterday, see what happened. But we got the Mute Swan family with the two cygnets right at the top of the island here. We got the mother trumpeter swan, well, soon, hopefully soon to be mother trumpeter swan. She's sitting on like the nest. It looks like she's sitting on the nest. And of course we got the dad trumpeter way out there to the right. He's eating. That's basically what he does. What he loves to do is eat. But it's so interesting. I mean, you got a trumpeter attempting to nest. I'll have to see her behavior like later on, but to see if like maybe she's nesting and all of her eggs are laid and she's starting the incubation period. But we'll see what happens. But basically 75 feet away from her on the other side of the island is a Mute Swan family, all in the same pond here. The question is, are they going to, how many more days or weeks or months are they all going to survive together? It's interesting behavior. We got some mallard ducks, some red-winged blackbirds. I saw two Canadian geese earlier. Looks like there's some geese over by the senior home on the other side there of the island. Earlier, two Canadian geese were on the opposite side of the island, on the east side. But I'm gonna get my exercise, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Okay, so the female on the right-hand side just got off the island, off her nest. The male trumpeter on the left-hand side, about 5 minutes earlier, the Mute Swan family went down towards that away, towards the northwest part of the pond. He's looking in that direction. I also saw the mallard duck with her goslings. They were on the island right where the male trumpeter is. So don't know about the nest if it's a full-blown, ready-to-go type situation. Female's going a little further away from it. We got 3 mallard ducks over here. There's a swallow. See another swallow. Trumpeter edging slightly in the direction of the Mute Swans. Let's see if we see the daddy Mute Swan, if he'll come with his feathers. He's almost getting close where the dad Mute Swan will come. Trumpeter taking off right now. Trumpeter attacking the Mute Swan family. Trumpeter went after the male Mute Swan right there. Kind of hard out of camera angle, but he took off. Mute Swan's got his feathers arched. There he goes again. That's the male Mute Swan He doesn't back down. I imagine the female mute swan is to the left. I really can't go that way to see the angle. Male mute swan's got his feathers arched up, but has not lunged at the trumpeter. Doing a few circles by himself. Trumpeter doing a little bobbing of the head into the water. Trumpeter looking at the mute swan towards his left. Now he looks behind himself. I don't want to leave this position right now because I know like I can see about if I go another 75 yards ahead, I might be able to see where the mama mute swan is. Trumpeter just staying still right there. He's thinking. Mute swan, they're about like, I'd say about 7 feet away from each other. 6 or 7 feet. He's just doing some circles. Oh, there's the mom mute swan with the 2 cygnets. Trumpeter turns in that direction. Mom mute swan has her feathers fully arched. 2 cygnets are on the right side of her. Now they're right behind her. There's also 2 ducks, 2 mallards just watching. Female trumpeter is eating on the far side of the island. The male mute swan is still going in a circle around himself. The 2 cygnets are right in front of the mom mute swan. They're probably 12 feet away from that male trumpeter. Trumpeter just staying still in the water. One of the cygnets is somewhat on the shore with the other cygnet. What is the trumpeter going to do? That's the question. Mom is like in front of the cygnets now. Dad is still doing a little circle around, just going in circles himself. He's not circling the trumpeter. Mom's got her feathers fully arched. Cygnets are about 3 feet to the left of her. 2 ducks are to the right. Dad is about 5-6 feet now away from the trumpeter. The female trumpeter is still eating down the other way by the island with her head down. It's not that deep, the water where the mom's mute swan is. She might be standing right now slightly. Male trumpeter just really hasn't moved in either direction. He stuck his head a little bit in the water, but not down, just a little bit on the top. Looks to the right, looks to the left. He's looking more towards the left. Mom's got her wings arched up. Dad's wings are arched up too. Two Canadian geese flying in, landing far away. Those cygnets are 11 days old, born on May 8th. The male mute swan has not did a circle around the trumpeter like he used to. It's just a standoff right now. Trumpeter moving away. Male mute swan keeping about 5-6 feet behind him, now to the left of him. You wonder what goes through his mind, like why he doesn't do a full-blown attack. Female trumpeter still feeding. Male trumpeter was feeding just a little bit. He's got some type of lake weed hanging from his beak. Now he's moving down this way. Looks like calmer heads have prevailed. He stops for a second. Mute swan stops. He's right behind him, the male mute swan. It was like 2 days ago when the when the two other trumpeters flew into the pond and chaos broke out, that I was trying to see it from the time-lapse video, but that mute swan was dive bombed by one of the trumpeters. I think it was this male trumpeter when he came flying back. I think the cygnets are more towards the shore. Mama mute swan is still there. Trumpeter doing a little feeding right now. Red-winged blackbird out there towards the mom mute swan. Cygnets are in the water near the shore. Female trumpeter can see her partner, can see the mute swan, so she could probably fly down here in 3 or 4 seconds. If I'm the mom mute swan, I'm going the other direction. She looks like she wants to come this way towards the nest. The trumpeter just attacked the family.
Pardon me?
I said the trumpeter just attacked the family.
Oh.
This is unusual that the mute swans are here.
Yeah.
The last 10 years, this has been trumpeter nesting ponds.
Trumpeter?
Yeah, there's 2 different types of swan out there.
Oh, I didn't know they just changed. Really? Okay.
I want to just pick this action up from my video because it's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, look at those little ones. They were over here just cuddled with his mama the other day.
Don't know why the mama mute swan is coming closer with the 2 cygnets to the trumpeter. The one on towards the right is the trumpeter, the all black beak. The mute swans have the orange beak. Oh, is she going to try to pass? That's not a good idea. She was going to try to pass the trumpeter here. Trumpeter turns around. She's like wants to get back to her nest. Trumpeter getting closer. Oh, trumpeter is going to get one of the cygnets. The mom mute swan attacks the trumpeter. Dad mute swan is with the cygnets now. Dad's mute swan goes with the trumpeter. The trumpeter's got both of them. Now they're both attacking the trumpeter. The other trumpeter is just eating. Now they're both like in the reeds. And I cannot see what's going on. The one trumpeter is attacking them both. The female trumpeter is just eating down there. She doesn't see what's going on. It's hard to tell. You got the mute swan in the reed, and the male trumpeter, he might have got one of the cygnets. And the female trumpeter is still eating down there. This is crazy. And there is some situation going on right there. I don't know. I don't know about the cygnets. Cannot see. The reeds are blocking the view. More flapping going on. Trumpeter's got his wings to the side. Trumpeter attacking one of the mute swans. Female trumpeter still down there. Now the other mute swan goes on after the trumpeter. They're out of view. They are out of view, and the female trumpeter is still down there.
Where is she?
To your right, far right.
Far right. Okay.
Got to move all the way down to this spot. Hear the flapping of the wings. It's gonna be hard to tell if I can see him here. No, I gotta go back to the other spot. Cannot see him. Wow, just so crazy. Trumpeter taking on both mute swans. Alrighty, the trumpeter's still back out there. Female trumpeter still eating. I don't know about the mute swans, if the cygnets survived or not. I'm surprised that the female trumpeter did not come over. They are close. Something's going on right there. Wow. I can only see the trumpeter and the 2 mute swans are right behind the grass there. It's not looking good for those 2 cygnets. I'm still shocked that the female trumpeter did not come over to help out her partner.
I know.
It is. She can totally see what's going on, but she's down there still eating.
Well, yeah, she's hungry.
I believe this is the male trumpeter. I mean, I saw the female get off her nest and go down towards and eat. Yeah, but they're cygnets. I'll be very surprised if the cygnets survive. But the little babies, don't know. Trumpeter, maybe the little cygnets might have hid in the reeds. The male mute swan right behind the trumpeter. A little close to the trumpeter. But it's hard to tell with the reeds here. Female is still eating. The female trumpeter is still eating. Male mute swan is trailing the trumpeter pretty close here. I would think that's the male mute swan. Very close. Look how close that is. That could be the female mute swan, but something happened to the cygnets, maybe. They are very close. Something happened to the cygnets, maybe. But look how close that male mute swan is to the trumpeter. Wow. That is very close. He's upset. Something happened. Wow. Trumpeter just keeping an eye on that mute swan, has not lunged at all back at him. The other mute swan is still down there to the left. Trumpeter going back towards her partner. Now he chases back the swan. Now he chases back the mute swan. That mute swan is very upset right there, but he won't lunge at the trumpeter. That trumpeter was fighting both of them at the same time. I'm still like shocked that the female trumpeter did not come down to help out her partner. Now the mute swan, yeah, that's the male probably right there. That's the male mute swan. I think he knows not to go any closer because he's right next to his partner. They're still alive. The two cygnets are still alive. Wow. One looks like it's struggling with the swim a little bit, but they're still alive. I don't know. One looks maybe the mom is swimming too fast, but I don't know if he's injured. Wow, that was a big fight. Now the trumpeters are going to talk about it. Wow. The two cygnets for right now look good. Unbelievable. Crazy action. Male mute swan moving away. Mom is right behind these reeds right here. The back leg on the cygnet to the left is up a little bit, so that might be injured. Might have injured the leg of the cygnet on the left hand side. It was struggling trying to keep up with mom when mom was getting closer to the nest. Mom's washing herself now. Yeah, that was some crazy action there. Sorry if my video didn't pick it up that well. But boy, that trumpeter was taking on those two mute swans. I'm still surprised, like I said, that the partner did not come out and help out the trumpeter. And it is remarkable that the two cygnets survived. I think the cygnets want to come over here to the boardwalk. Yeah, the back leg of the one cygnet looks to be injured. Right there, and the cygnet to the right. Sometimes I've seen that in cygnets that have injuries, but sometimes they move them in that direction too. But he's only swimming with one leg right now. So the trumpeter might have got a hold of that cygnet. Just gonna make it more difficult for him to survive. Yeah, he's just swimming with one leg. Mom Mute Swan calling her cygnets. Well, that was some mayhem today. Both trumpeters are eating right now. You know, like the crazy thing, like 40 minutes before that, you had the two trumpeters, the one trumpeter on the island nesting. You had the family right at the top of the island. And you had the other trumpeter feeding. Now here comes the male mute swan, trying to look all tough and everything. His intimidation. But boy, when he was coming back, trailing, he was really close to the trumpeter. See, he won't even attack the trumpeter when he puts his head in the water to feed. I've been with trumpeters like at the Huron River in the winter time in Gallup Park. They know better, like not to put their head underwater, like even to get the corn when older trumpeters that are higher on the pecking order are there. Because if they do that, then they would get like attacked a whole lot easier. Mom upset, making some noise. You can hear the mute swan making noise. One of the trumpeters just lunged at the mute swan. I mean, these mute swans are clearly in distance that these trumpeters, if they wanted to, can just fly and take them out. I don't know what keeps them from doing that. I mean, they try to do it. The one tried to do it. But they do have a more silly personality, the trumpeters. More of a laid-back personality. There are some mute swans that have a good laid-back personality too. Mom Mute Swan moving more towards back to the nest. That's more of a safe area. I don't know if that little one's going to be able to get up the nest with 1 foot, 1 good foot. Mom Mute Swan is back on top of the nest. Got 1 cygnet up the nest. One cygnet made it up really no problem. The other cygnet with the injury is right in the water right there. See, that's going to cause some problems for that little guy. He sustained that injury. He's lucky to be alive right now. But his siblings on top of the nest with mom. He's still doing some feeding in the water. Little guys like that are going to, with the injury, he's very exposed now more to danger in this pond. The dad mute going more towards his location on the top of the island. Trumpeter moving closer to the Mute Swan. Looks like the other cygnet got down from the nest back into the water. Can hear the gerby in the distance. Trumpeter is at the Mute Swan's favorite location there. Got the trumpeters feeding out there, the Mute Swan preening himself. So we have the two males here, the trumpeter and the mute swan. Then over on the island, the female trumpeter is sitting on the nest. Then in the reeds over by the nest over there is the mute swan with the two cygnets. I really cannot see them, but I imagine they're in there somewhere. But these guys are just eating. The mute swan likes to swim close to the trumpeter, try to intimidate him. But the trumpeter, he was the one that ended up swimming down there and going after the family. I'm surprised that they survived the two cygnets for now. But that mute swan, he was really close to the trumpeter when he was coming back towards this area. But he did not lunge at him. Okay, so we have the mute swan back on her nest. We got one of the cygnets on the top of the nest there. Then the injured cygnet is to the right bottom of the nest. Like I say, his leg is injured. He's got one bad leg. He's not able to get up. And we got the daddy mute swan and the male trumpeter swan right out there. I have to think back to that fight. I'm almost 100% sure it was the male trumpeter, but I might have to check my I have two cameras going right now, the two time-lapse cameras, so I have to check the footage just to make it 100%, because in previous times that I've been here, it's been the female trumpeter attacking the mute swan more than the male trumpeter. Like I said before, sometimes it's difficult for me to figure out which one's female, which one's male. But I think the male is heading back to the island right now. But I'm looking at the iron color on their heads. And the female, she's got a good amount of that reddish color. So I'll have to review the tape, as they say. But it's all fascinating and interesting drama at the Trumpeter Mute Swan Pond 2021. I'm watching the male trumpeter. There's a Canadian goose to the right of him. The female trumpeter is on the nest on the island. There's a muskrat, my first muskrat today. Male mute swan's on top of the island, his usual spot that he likes to hang out. The female is still on the nest over there. The one cygnet is on the top, and the injured cygnet is on the bottom. Looks like the muskrat is having a long swim. I think his house is like over by that big tree over there. Not that many Canadian geese here today. The muskrat is coming this way. Both of the cygnets look to be back in the water, probably doing some feeding. Mom is organizing the nest. Okay, both trumpeters are back on the island. Sometimes it's hard to tell them apart. You got the mute swan on the top of the island there. The mama mute swan is back over by her nest in the reeds with the two cygnets. Got some killdeer on the island. I just saw a killdeer fly in, which is pretty cool. But boy, what a day today for May 19th. It's kind of disappointing that the trumpeters didn't chase these mute swans out. There goes the trumpeter, like nesting. That's where I believe the nest is, right there. Right there. Her mate right behind her. But looks like she's nesting, so for May 19th, I think I'm gonna mark it down as a nest. Should be 33, 34 days from today. So you're looking at maybe June 23rd. See what happens in this pond. But yeah, I think I'll mark it down as a nest. I'll be back tomorrow. It's supposed to rain tonight. Still nice and hot. Time-lapse worked, so I have 28 hours of time-lapse video to go through. See what else happened. And from the angle of the time-lapse, I should be able to see the fight. Make it out a little bit more. It'll be far away, but I can maybe get a better understanding of what was going on down there. Like I say, I do apologize for not having a better camera than the GoPro. She gets up a little bit from the nest, sits back down, but I'm going to call it a day. Hope you enjoyed the series. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Okay, good afternoon. May 20th, 2021. Back at the Trumpeter Mute Swan Drama Pond. I came down to this end because this is where the mute swans are at. The mama mute swan is out there towards the left with the two cygnets, and the dad mute swan is towards the right. On the far side of the pond is the male trumpeter swan, and the female, she looks to be nesting. She is on the nest. So I was watching the time-lapse video. I had the time-lapse video going like Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday afternoon, and yesterday was the big fight that I saw with the male trumpeter going after the mute swan family. But first on the time-lapse video, today is Thursday, so going back to Tuesday afternoon, the male trumpeter swan, watching that time-lapse video, he attacked the swan family down at this end of the pond. And that was like a late afternoon. Then Wednesday morning, early in the morning, he also attacked the family, and that was kind of crazy. Then later, just a little bit later that morning, I wouldn't call it an attack, but the male mute swan was doing a lot of intimidation because the male trumpeter was very close to the cygnets. Then later that afternoon, when I was here live, that was the big attack that I saw the trumpeter go after the mute swan family. But one thing about that attack, watching my video, I mean, the blame, you could put it on the female mute swan, because the trumpeter attacked the male mute swan, and the female, they were towards the left and everything. They were a little bit of ways, but a few minutes later, she was bringing the cygnets, and they were trying to attempt to get back towards the nest, and they were going to cross paths with the male trumpeter, and that was just a no-no. She should have gone the other way, and that's what happened. I mean, because then the male trumpeter attacked the female Mute Swan, attacked the two cygnets, injured the one cygnet. He had the foot injury. I can't tell right now if he still has that foot injury. He's pretty far out there. So, and there's a big deer going for a drink of water. Wow, that's pretty cool. I hope he doesn't get hit by a car. But that's cool. But let's see here. Yeah, so I'm gonna do my exercise. There's actually a farmer down the road that I'm gonna go capture some video. He's doing some planting right now, so I'm gonna walk, get some good walking in today. But I'm gonna set up my time lapse. The only thing about the time lapse, I can't, I mean, I don't have that powerful zoom type camera, HD. The GoPro is just, you know, it's HD, but the zoom is not that good. But they're interesting, the time-lapse cameras, and I'm trying to set up like where I can put a good one to get the action, because a lot of the action has been down at this side of the pond and everything with the most recent attacks that I caught on time-lapse. But on this side of the pond, there's really, I mean, it's just like as you can see, just a lot of marsh in front of me, and there's really no place that I can safely put my camera. So I'll probably just end up putting it where I've been putting it the past number of times, and we'll just catch the action that way. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe we'll see that deer later on. Thanks for watching. Okay, the mama Mute Swan with the two cygnets are relatively in the location where they have been attacked a few times over to the left there. The dad Mute Swan is a good maybe 75 yards away doing some feeding, and the male trumpeter is all the way across the pond by the senior home. The female is still on the nest. It's about 1 p.m. in the afternoon on Thursday. I see some mallard ducks out there, couple Canadian geese, and a mallard on top of the island here. I don't think it rained yesterday at all here. I think hopefully we'll get rain, because I know it's not summer yet, but it's been somewhat of a dry spring a little bit. And I mentioned that this pond has dried up before, back in 2013, I believe. It was bone dry. I was able to like walk up to this island over there. So I worry a little bit about the amount of rain. Hopefully we'll get some good rains coming up shortly. But yeah, and maybe we'll get high tensions today too. Time lapse is set up for the next 24 hours plus. Male Mute Swan making his way a little bit towards the trumpeter in that direction. Hopefully I can get a closer look at that cygnet, see if he still has an injured foot. But I'll just stick around here for the time being. Well, not much is happening. Looks like the Mute Swan, she is right over at the far right of the pond here. And the male Mute Swan is behind the tree there. So it looks like an afternoon nap is going to be happening for the cygnets over there. So that would be the north part of the pond there. And the trumpeter, the male, is still over by the island towards the east of the island. He's at the south end of the pond, and he's still doing feeding right now. And the female is still sitting on the nest. I think I'm going to call it a day. I have the time lapse set up. I might come back later this afternoon if I'm in the area. but we'll see what's what. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Okay, I came back to the pond to check some things out here. We got the Trumpeter swans. They're on the western part of the pond here by the island. They're just finishing up some feeding, it looks like. Looks like the female might be heading back to her nest. And then we got the Mute Swan family. They're over on the eastern, southern part of the pond here. I do see 2 cygnets way out there. Maybe the Mute Swan family is staying on that side of the pond, on the east side of the pond, a whole lot more. But the time lapse is running, so it's going to be running overnight. I'll have to come back tomorrow afternoon to get it and to see what else is going on. Thank you again for watching. Hope you have a great day.